Hello everyone and welcome back to exercise number 48 of the SolidWorks basic tutorial series. In this video, we're going to be designing a coupling flange. Now as always, in designing this part within SolidWorks, we're going to be using many of the SolidWorks features, namely the extruded boss base feature and extrude cut feature. But if we look closely here in this exercise in particular, we're going to have to be using these sketch tool, especially in creating these teeth for the spline shaft and for the central hub here. So we're going to do a lot of sketching and also use the circular sketch pattern tool. Here we see the schematic drawing for exercise number 48. All dimensions are in millimeters. If we zoom closely, the unit system is set to millimeter gram per second. We have the isometric view, the trimetric view. These are basically two different pictorial views showcasing the physical features of the component. We have the front view, the top view, and two detail views. Detail A here showcases the teeth or the profile here for the central hub, whereas detail B showcases the teeth for the spline shaft that is situated on the top of the coupling flange. All right, so with regards to the physical features of the component, you can divide the component into three main levels. You have the first level right here, which is the base flange. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to sketch out a circle, then use the extrude boss base tool to create the thickness right here, creating, of course, ultimately a cylinder, and then we're going to round out the top edge of the cylinder using the fillet tool. And the fillet radius is, as you can see here, is 2 millimeters. After that, we're going to proceed to step 2, and that is to create the central hub. Of course, in creating this 2D profile right here, we're going to have to use many of the sketch tools, but most importantly, more prominently, we're going to be using the circular sketch pattern tool. So basically, we're going to sketch out one of these teeth right here, this protrusion right here, and then use the circular sketch pattern tool to create the other copies. Likewise, for the spline shaft here at the top, we're going to have to sketch out at least right here one of the teeth, and then use the circular sketch pattern tool to create the other copies. And of course, we have all the necessary details for each of the profiles right here for detail A and B, along with all the dimensions. So this is a relatively simple part to implement in SolidWorks, and I don't think there's anything else for me to mention here. All right, so with that aside, let's get started with exercise number 48. All right, so let's start by creating a new SolidWorks part. Let's set the background to plain white, and let's copy exercise number 48 into SolidWorks. Let's go ahead and drag this upwards and make this smaller. All right. So as I said previously, step 1 here involves creating the base flange of the component. So to start, let's go ahead and select the top plane, sketch, and starting from the origin, let's go ahead and draw a circle. All right. The diameter of the base cylinder, if we look at the schematic drawing, has a diameter of 15 millimeters. So activate the Smart Dimension tool, and the diameter of this circle should be 50 millimeters. Now press the S key, select Extrude Boss Base, and we're going to extrude this 2D sketch to an overall height or thickness of 8 millimeters. Again, this is according to the schematic drawing. So enter a thickness of 8, and then click OK. All right. Now go to Features, select Fillet, select the upper edge of the cylinder, and assign a fillet radius of 2 millimeters. Again, if we look closely, we have a fillet radius of 2 millimeters for the top edge of the cylinder. And click OK. So that creates the base flange of the component here. Now we're going to move on to the central hub. So to start, go ahead and select this top face, sketch, activate the circle tool, and from the origin, draw a circle. Activate the Smart Dimension tool, and if we look closely at the top view, we see that the base circle for the central hub has a radius of 15 millimeters. So that would correspond to a diameter of 30 millimeters. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in, activate the Line tool, and we're going to sketch out 2D profile for one of the teeth for the central hub. All the way to the bottom right here. All right. So go ahead and select this center point and this origin and set the rotation as vertical. That would, directly align 2D sketch with respect to the origin vertically. Now go ahead and activate the power trim tool, and delete any extra lines that we have here at the bottom. Activate the smart dimension tool, and the diameter or the radius of this portion right here is 1 millimeter. Also, if we look closely here at the detail view, we see that the distance or the length of this edge right here all the way to the bottom is 5 millimeters. So let's go ahead and zoom in and assign a dimension of 5 millimeters for this edge right here. All right. Just make sure everything's in position. Okay. Now what we need to do, we need to create the other copies because since we have radial symmetry for the central hub here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to linear sketch pattern and then select circular sketch pattern. For the entities to pattern, go ahead and select the sketch that you just created. And if we look closely here, we have 4 on this side, 4 on the other. That makes, no, not 4. That's actually 5 on this side and 5 on the other. That's 10, 11, 12. So overall, we need 12 copies right here. So this is 12. And then click OK. All right. Activate the trim tool. And then go ahead and delete any extra entities right here, leaving behind the 2D profile for the central hub. And one here at the top. Okay. Now click OK, press the S key, and select Extrude Boss Base. And we're going to extrude this central, this sketch here to an overall thickness of 5 millimeters right there. So assign an extrusion thickness of 5 millimeters. Click OK. All right, that creates the central portion of the component, central hub. Now, finally, we're going to work on creating the spline shaft here at the top. So again, select this top face, sketch, activate the circle tool, and from the origin, draw a circle. Activate the smart dimension tool. And if we look at the top view, we see that this circle here should have a base radius of 7 millimeters. So it has a diameter of 14. All right, so now we're going to have to sketch out one of the teeth here, the 2D sketch for one of the teeth, and then use the circular sketch pattern tool to create the other copies. How many teeth do we have in total? Let's just do this right now. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 for one quadrant. So 4 times 4 is 16. And we have another 4, so that's 20. So overall, we have 20 teeth. So let's get started with drawing one of them. So go here to line, and then go ahead and select midpoint line. And just draw a vertical line. All right. Set the relation between the origin and the midpoint right here as horizontal by pressing H on your keyboard. Activate the smart dimension tool. The length of this edge should be 1 millimeter. Again, this is according to the schematic drawing here. We can see that the dimension is 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter. Zoom in. Activate the line tool, and let's go ahead and draw a horizontal line starting from this point. And do the same thing for the top edge right here. All right. Now activate the trim tool and delete any extra lines. Activate the smart dimension tool, and the length of this edge should be 1 millimeter. All right. Now go to linear sketch pattern, circular sketch pattern, entities to pattern, and select these 3 lines, 1, 2, and 3. All right. Set the number of copies to 20. And then click OK. Okay. That leaves behind the number of copies that we just created. Activate the trim tool and delete any extra lines here, leaving behind the 2D sketch for the spline shaft. All right, so now just press the S key, extrude boss base, and we're going to extrude this to an overall height of 38 minus 13, right? Which is 25. 38 minus 13. Right here, you can perform basic arithmetics. And there you have it. Go ahead and click OK. Now, that completes the modeling process. Go ahead and delete this image. Of course, we need to assign a material. And here it says we need to use a material of ASI 1020 steel. So now delete this image. Right-click on Material, Edit Material, and then select ASI 1020 steel, Apply, Close. Now for the moment of truth, click on the Evaluate tab, select Mass Properties, and the final mass, or the final answer here is 190.74 grams. The final answer is 190.74 grams. All right, so that concludes exercise number 48. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear them. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and press the subscribe button. I would really appreciate the support for the channel. Until we meet again, I'll see you all in exercise number 49. Bye-bye.